And now I'm unmuted. What's up, guys? How are you?
What's going on, everybody?
Today is going to be a fun one. Really quickly, guys, if you haven't liked the video yet, please like the video while you guys come in. I have a special treat because my husband wanted to share his story. A lot of people wanted to know his background, and we decided, or he decided, that he wanted to share here. So we're just really excited. You're looking at the look there. We have a different setup, so we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, we're really excited. James is going to be sharing his story today, and we're also going to have a call-in version of the show as well. And leave your comments and questions in the chat. It will really help us out, so that if you guys have any follow-up questions that you want to ask James, or you want him to expand upon something, let us know in the chat. We are excited. Again, get the likes up. We really appreciate you guys here. And shout out to Harrison Family Vlogs. Shout out to CP the artist. Yes, I made you a mod. Harrison Family Vlogs, I gotta make you a mod. Welcome, guys. Thank you. Hello, Stanley. How are you? Hi, Guru. Greetings, fam. James looks excited. Yes, he's super excited. Hey, Gordon. How are you? Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. He's used to sharing on other platforms, but not on the internet. It says, where did you get the Grateful shirt from? Our friend, gratefulapparel.com.
Yeah, go check out gratefulapparel.com.
We'll add it down here too. What is it?
Gratefulapparel.com.
Great. I don't know how to spell great.
That's Grate. Use my shirt for a reference.
How do you spell apparel?
There you go. AREL.com. Yeah, that's my man Ray. Show some love.
Yeah, gratefulapparel.com. He has awesome shirts there. Keith says, let's go. Hey, James. What does it say? Hey, James, how did you lay the foundation in getting with each other? Well, actually, he'll talk about this.
I'll get into all that.
So, okay. So I'm going to give it to James. I'm going to hand it off. He's going to take over the mic, and he's going to look here.
All right. What's going on, everybody? So I'm a little nervous, right? So as mentioned before, I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous, so I'm not unfamiliar with telling my story. It's just in a different area, right, where I get to actually see people and thrive off the energy or whatever, right? So I got to remember that I'm not in not a Narcotics Anonymous meeting right now when I speak, right? But I'm gonna talk about a lot of. So last week when I was chatting with CP, I was saying how I think it's very important to be transparent, right? And how it's super important for men, particularly, to share transparently with each other so we could kind of know where we're at, right? And from a very young age, I was always driven by fear, right? I have a mind that tells me I'm not good enough to do anything. Right, I was always compared to other kids. Why can't you be good like the kids down the block? Right? Why can't you be like this kid? Why can't you be like that? And I was always afraid that I wasn't, performing up to par. Right? My earliest memory, and I don't want to go through this whole thing. When I was 5, and when I was 2, and when I was this, and when I was that, I'm gonna try to bore y'all, but I'm gonna try to give you a little origin story. One day my father said that he was my mother and my father weren't married, right? So I didn't grow up in a house with married parents, right? But one day my father said, "Hey, I'm on my way to come pick you up," right? And he never came. And I waited on the stoop for him, and I waited on the stoop for him, and I waited on the stoop for him. Before you knew it, the day was over and he never came, right? And I always say that a part of me as a child stayed on that stoop, right? It was at that that day I decided, yo, nobody's ever gonna hurt me again. No one's ever gonna, and I made that decision very, very young, right? That um, screw people, right? I didn't know at the time that that was a decision I made, but something clicked in my brain where I made a decision like, yo, no one's ever gonna hurt my feelings, right? I, played sports in high school. I was like a nerd, low key. I got good grades. I got an award from the president. I hid it on top of the cabinet because my wife wouldn't let me hang it on the. She wouldn't let me hang it up. Right. It was like one of my proudest moments. I got an award from the president for being man smart. Right. I went through high school. I played sports in high school. Hung around with the cool kids. Right. Kind of. Right. I was a pothead in high school, but like hung out with kids, whatever. Um, Graduated. It's just really hard for me being that I'm not a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, right? Because I feel that Narcotics Anonymous is a huge part of me being who I am today, alongside with, submitting my life to Christ or whatever. Fast forward, I went to Grambling State University in Louisiana. I went to college down in Louisiana. I wasn't expected to go to college, right? I always did the bare minimum, right? In high school, I didn't really get many girls, right? Maybe girls like me, but I was unaware, right? I don't think I was ever like one of those dudes that got like. I remember seeing dudes that got mad girls and people was having sex. I was like, yeah, 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 me too, me too, me too, right? When I wasn't, what I mean? But I went away to college, got out of college. I left college, right? I left college to come back to my girlfriend who I was dating. So we were in a long distance relationship, and I dropped out of school to come back home to be with her, for her to be like, yo, I don't want to be with you no more. Right. And I think like that hurt.
Yeah.
Right. That hurt a lot. Right. And I went, I started drinking a lot, and I was like, poor me. Right. My life is over. I'm 18 years old and my girl left me. What am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? And I was living with my mother. She was like, yo, if you're gonna be in my house, you gotta go back to college. I applied to film school. I got accepted to film school. While I was in film school, I got a really good job, like a freelance cinematographer. So I'm working with I got to experience some really cool things. I got introduced to like some more hardcore drugs, right? And then my life just kind of fell apart, right? But it's always been like this roller coaster. It's like been really ups, some ups and then some downs, some ups, some downs. I screwed over a lot of people. I became very selfish. I owe amends to a lot of people still to this day. I've hurting a lot of people, right? But it was really like my own stuff, right? I didn't really know who, like I was lost. I was lost in the sauce, right? There was no spirituality, there was no God. It was like, how can I get what I want right now? Right. And that's what my life really became. Right. It became like, as I got a little older, I felt more attractive. So like, I'm using women, I'm doing all these different things, I'm clubbing, I'm doing this, I'm getting, I'm having fun, but really I was not. Right. Like even I would be in a club with mad people. I'll be in a bar with mad people, and like I would just not feel comfortable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, and then I remember I was dating. So there's like been a trend, right? As I'm speaking, I'm noticing a trend here. But yo, some chick broke up with me, right? And I had tried crack before, but it was like one of my clean sprints, right? And she broke up with me for whatever reason, and I didn't know what to do. And I was like, yo, I got a good idea. I think I'm gonna smoke some crack today, right? I don't know where that came from. I think I just remembered the nostalgic feeling of getting high, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then my life just went like this. Phew. Um, for a long time, for like 8, 9 years, clean for a couple months, going to rehabs, getting out of rehabs, getting a job, start making some money, and think that I could, use drugs successfully. Um, and I started, I worked at Nordstrom. I was really successful working at Nordstrom. And then I left there, went to Saks Fifth Avenue. I was working at Saks Fifth Avenue. I lost that job, and then I got put out. Right, basically, my mom, and it was everything was due to the drugs. Right, I'm like 20 something years old, still living with my mom. Total bum. Right, total loser stuff. You know what I mean? And my mom put me out, and she had reached out to this Pastor Raymond Ramos, right? And he was on I don't know how she got his number. Somebody from her church told her about him, like, yo, you need to reach out to this pastor. He helps drug addicts, right? And then he was like, my mom called him, and he was on a flight, I think, to either Switzerland or Sweden.
I don't know.
It was one of those, but he was flying to one of those spots, and he was on the plane, and my mom called him, and he answered the phone, right? Somehow he had service on the plane, God moment, and he answered the phone, and then he was like, yeah, I could get him into a rehab. And she was like, nah, my son don't need rehab. Like, this nigga need Jesus. You know what I mean? And he let me live in his church, man. I lived in it, he moved me into his church. In his church, there was meetings. There was, I got involved with service because I had a little bit of background with, audio visual stuff. I did stuff with my church. I was part of the AV team at the church. Like, I pretty much, like, that's how I earned my stay, right? Doing chores at the church, volunteering, soup kitchen, pantry, Sunday services, right? And even while I was living at the church, I started wilding a little bit, right? Now I wasn't using drugs no more, but like I was acting out as far as like with women, right? So I'm dealing with one chick that got a boyfriend. I got another lady that's like 40 something years old. She's here on visa from Germany, right? And I'm like sneaking out to church at 3, 4 in the morning to go do what I got to do. And like I was getting tired, right? I was getting tired. And I remember one day, I prayed to God. I'm like, yo, God, son, like, because I talk to God like if I'm talking to one of my friends, right? And I was like, yo, God, like, yo, this is getting whack for me, man. Like, just send me I need some feet, right? Because I was also taught that you got to be very specific in your prayer, right? And I think that's super important, that when you're praying for something, you got to be specific, but not to, I don't know, like you can't be like, yo, God, I want $1 million, right? And I want $1 million in the form of a check, right? No, that's not how it works. But it was, I pray to God. I'm like, yo, God, like, I would like some female companionship, right? I would like, it doesn't have to be my girl. It doesn't have to be anything. I just need a woman in my life that will kind of accept me where I'm at. All the while, I'm starting to hang around men that were teaching me how to be a man, right? How to like get my finances in order, how to, the right way to live, the way to speak to people, the way to, right? Like I was surrounded by good, godly men, and I'm trying to like transform my life, right? And I was also at a point where it was like, yo, doing all these things, it wasn't conducive to my walk with Christ, right? I'm claiming to be a Christian, right? I'm claiming that I'm trying to be a better person. Yeah, I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? I'm Christian by day and like a demon at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to live that way no more, right? So like, I remember praying, and then I was doing an event, right? So I've spoken about this before. I was working with Big Vision. We're doing a party. Rebecca was meeting with this back when Rebecca had her business. She was meeting with the owner of she was meeting with the owner of the venue of the place where we were throwing our party. And I looked to my man, Elliot, may he rest in peace, man. Elliot was murdered a couple months back. But I remember looking to my man Elliot, and I'm like, yo, that's gonna be my wife. You know what I'm saying? And the rest is history. We were inseparable. I got myself together. I started getting my finances together. Right. Then the pandemic hit. I moved to Florida with $200. Right. Because I got free, but like, they be like, yo, you rich, you this, you that.
Yeah, talk about that really quick, like how people assume.
Yeah, like yo, people think I have money, right? And when I tell you I moved to Florida. Well, I didn't intend on moving here, right? That wasn't my plan, right? The pandemic happened. I got let go from my job. Um, and we went to go stay with her parents for a little while. And I literally came out here with like $200, and then like we never left. And then I was just like, yo, we're gonna stay out here. We were engaged at the time. I was like, we're gonna stay out here. She was like, yo, what are you gonna do for work? Da 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 da. And I was like, yo, I'll figure it out, right? And like that was the thing too, right? Like that was the thing that was so special to me, is because like you hear all these stories about how like, yo, women only want dudes with money, or women only want dudes with this and with that, right? They want some tangible evidence, right? That he's a good man, right?
Mhm.
But the good man, really, they're not really saying that they want a good man. They want a man with stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, how much stuff does he have, and how can I get it, right? Yo, I ain't have none, right? There was none for her to get. I had none, right? But you know, but like yo, like I feel like through honoring my relationship, right, and really trying to get closer to God, he blessed me, man. Like he's blessed us.
Yeah.
He's blessed our relationship because we've honored him, right? We gave up porn, we stopped having sex, right? We started, right? And it wasn't that Rebecca made me stop having sex, or Rebecca made me stop watching porn. No, I did, like, she brought, like, I don't know, she brought it up.
Yeah.
She brought it up, right? And then I was also convicted, right? Because I think like as I'm trying to get closer to God, like he was like poking at little areas of my life that needed work.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, that area right there, you struggling in that area right there. And honestly, the porn and all that other stuff was actually hindering our relationship, right? Because I didn't understand that I was actually perversing our relationship, right?
Yeah.
So it gave us opportunity to become closer and like really build like a foundation built on solid rock, right? And you know, now we out here. I got a pretty, I make a pretty decent living. My wife is doing YouTube, pregnant, We still struggle. There's days that sometimes I want to punch her in the face. I would never do that, by the way. Don't clip that part,
Yeah, don't.
right? And take it out of context and be like, Rebecca Barrett's husband punches her in the face on a regular basis, and create like a whole new narrative. Like that's not what happens. But sometimes I want to. Right? And we just trying to make do, man. Like, we two regular people trying to live our life, man. Right? I don't have the most. I got goals, right? I got things that I aspire to have, right? Like, I got goals. I don't want to just say what my goals are, but I got goals, and I got things that I want to achieve, and that's my story, man. Like, I can't, that's the short version.
Yeah, that is the short version.
That's the short version, right? I don't want to bore you guys to death. Be like, I remember in 7th grade, I tried to prove that blood was really blue, which is actually a true story.
Oh my God.
I tried to, my buddy was like,
what is going on?
Right? More will be revealed. But, and that's it. That's it, man. Like that's really it. So
Isaac says he wants to listen to the long story.
Isaac, you can hit me up individually when you got a little while. But and that's really it, man. So, I just wanted to give some context of like who we are, like who I am, right?
Mhm.
As an individual, right? Because I think there's like a lot of
misconceptions.
There's some misconceptions. There's some, assumptions about me or whatever, which is fine, right? People are gonna believe what they want to believe. People are gonna hear what they want to hear, right? They're gonna say what they want to say. But you can always use this as like a reference point, right? So anyway.
No, that was good. I really like something that I wanted to make this video actually, but we can talk about this here. um, you know, distinguishing between a high quality man versus a high value man, because like literally the entire internet is talking about, oh, you have to be a high value man, women only want high value men, and high value men like have money for X amount of years, whatever it is.
No, I think, and I'm gonna go with Kevin Samuel's definition of what
Yes.
high value man is, because I think he was actually the most clear. So I think I want to say you've made 6 figures consistently for a minimum of 3 years, right? Your LinkedIn, like, people can know who you are by your LinkedIn, your Rolodex or your network recognizes you as a high value man.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there was some couple other things, but for the most part, that was like the gist of it. Right. Are you LinkedIn connected or some along those lines? I'm not trying to butcher what he said, but I think that's,
Yeah. So I like to say, for a lot of women, you're missing out on good men, because here's the thing, like when I met James, he didn't have, like, you just heard his story, right? Like he didn't have it all together when I met him. I didn't have my stuff all together. People assume that,
well, you had it more.
Well,
you had it together. You had it more together than I did. I was looking for a sugar mama.
No, you
I'm just kidding. I didn't know what you had until a little while later. Anyway.
No, but it's but when we met, it was the thing I loved about James, and the thing that drew me closer to him, was his transparency. And that struck me so hard, because you go through life and you meet people and you're like, wow, these people are so fake. Like, you talk a big game, but I could see that he was a high quality dude that had, that was going through some stuff, right? Like that he had gone through some things. And James was very successful when he was working in sales at Nordstrom and Saks. He was like a top.
I was a top seller, but I was trying to get that crack money.
No, but but James has something about him. So he's a natural salesman. So he can sell. I always say James can sell ketchup to a woman wearing white gloves. Like, he literally has that essence about him. And so he can translate that into so many facets of his life. And when he gets asked to speak, in these meetings and on different stages and things like that, he completely can capture a room. And I tell him all the time, and you guys have to let me know, James, I've been trying to encourage him to start a YouTube channel, and I would really love for you guys to chime in, because I think he would be an awesome.
Well, let's stay on track.
But it is on track. I think that he would.
You
have
were
an
asking
awesome
me about
channel.
high quality versus high value, and somehow that turned into me starting a channel. Let's rewind. What was the question about high quality? No, right, distinct between the two.
Yeah, but the distinction between the two, high quality and high value, is that high quality is this work ethic that you have. It's almost like that thing about you that you can't, it's not a tangible thing. Like, it's not money in the account. It's not status, like wealth status. It's not these things that people want, or like these women want tangibly, right? It's all of the intangibles that you can't really see on paper. Like, I saw that in you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying, is like, there's so many men out there. Oh, thank you, Bobby.
So many men out there that what?
so many men out there are high quality men, right? There's so many high quality men out there, but women are choosing, instead of having an IKEA marriage or having an IKEA wedding or not wedding, relationship, they want the Rolls Royce, they want the Ferrari, they want to have that, like, they want to lock in that high value man,
Well, yeah, it's like I think it's very similar to like just getting that next high, right? They just want the next best thing that's going to make them feel great, right? And also, you know, like for me, I've said this before. I can't I can't categorize myself as high value, right? I can't categorize myself as quality,
I think
right? Right? But what are some qualities that you look for in a person, right? Like I think some of my qualities are is that like I'm honest, like I'm pretty transparent, right? I have a good work ethic, right? I want to provide for my family, right? Everything I do, I tell my wife all the time, yo, every time I make a sale, it's not for me. Like I get a rush from it, but it's like what drives me is knowing that I have a family, right? That's that's what drives me now, right? Like all my like my motives have changed completely. Before it was like an ego thing. I just want to be the top. I just want to be the top dog. I just want to be the top salesman, right? But now it's like, screw that. I got a baby coming. I got to provide for my family, right? So I need to make this money because from what I hear, formula ain't cheap. Diapers ain't cheap.
Yeah, diapers ain't cheap.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I like what Scott says. He says integrity makes for quality, right? I think a lot of people miss that aspect about dating. And when you're trying to, date men and women, I think that we forget that we want quality, we need integrity, we need these things already built in, right? His values and morals match my values and morals, and that's something too that I think a lot of people miss, right? If you're not aligned, if you're not equally yoked, you're going to have so many issues,
right,
in your relationship because you already started off on the wrong foot. You already started off unequally yoked. And, like I said, you can date all of these people all you want, but if you're not aligned in the most basic way, your relationship is like doomed to fail.
correct.
I think.
No, I agree.
Hold on. We got some people in the chat. People say that you should start your YouTube channel.
And they also said that we should keep it together.
Well, we are going to keep this together.
So let's read everything. Let's not pick and choose.
Okay, wait. Cano Gonzalez, what did you do to get your finances in order?
So, when I first got clean, I had like, and I say clean, not sober, but when I first got clean, I think I had some debt, like some thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. And my pastor, Pastor Gus, I love Pastor Gus. Pastor Gus, if you're watching, I love you, sir. But I had Pastor Gus, and when I first got to the church, he got me a phone, right? Because I didn't have a phone.
Oh, yeah, tell that story.
Right? I didn't have a phone, so he got me a phone, right? He was like, yo, I'm going to pay the bill for you every month. So I was like, okay. So the first month, cool. Then he was like, yo, I got you a little side job. Somebody needs help doing some housework. Basically, I had to do some demolition. And basically help with some framing stuff that I had no idea how to do, but it was somebody that he knew that just needed somebody. They needed like a workman, right? So I worked, and my pastor was like, yo, he's going to pay me for you, And I'm like, oh, you talking about? He's like, nah. Trust me on this, right? So I work, he pays me, and then he's like, oh, by the way, your first your phone bill's due, so I'm gonna need X amount of dollars from you. And I'm like, what? You told me you was gonna do this, you told me you was gonna do that. I like I had a fit, right? About this like $40 phone bill, right? And then he was like, yo, you have money now, so you can pay your bills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was like, or I could just turn the phone off, whichever you prefer. So I was like, whatever, man. And I paid the money, I paid the bills. And like that was like the first time that I had paid bills, because I was, like, I had become like very animalistic in all of my stuff, right? I didn't care about responsibilities. And I paid that bill, right? And then like, it felt good to pay a bill, right? As weird as that sounds, it felt good to be able to know that I worked to pay for my phone bill. And I literally just started with like one debt at a time, right? So one debt at a time, I just started making little payments here, little payments there. And before you knew it, I think by the time I moved out of the church, I literally, like, I had like zero debt.
He had zero debt.
Right? Like before I knew it, I had paid everything off, man. Like my credit score is up. I think I got like a 7.
Don't say that to people.
Nah, but I'm just like, to give you context, right? Like my credit went, like everything went in order. So what did I do to get my finances in order? I got more discipline, right? I got more discipline. Instead of going out and copping this and copping that, I paid a bill, right? $200 there, $100 there, $400 there, $500 here, $20 here, right? And I just chipped away at debt until I had no debt. But Christmases just came around, so I racked up a little bill. But for the most part, I have no debt, right? So.
But it's interesting because I think you've prioritized, and I think as in general, people like to live beyond their means, right? And something that our relationship has taught us, like I said, we have definitely an IKEA marriage. Everyone thinks that we don't, but we really do. And so it's just taking those steps at a time, right? And God opens the door every single time for us to move into something better or to position ourselves in a better area,
Right.
And it's constant, and it's crazy how, like, if you just continue to do the work, and there's the saying in the rooms and stuff that they say, one day at a time, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's literally one day at a time.
Sometimes it's 1 second at a time, especially when I'm dealing with her.
Oh, hold on. Brag about the credit score. Someone asked, do you do men's ministry?
I haven't. We used to. So I used to. Back when I was in Brooklyn, I definitely did men's ministry. It's actually funny that you ask, because my man Grateful, we've been trying to figure out a way to start some ministry stuff out here. I would like to answer your question. No, right? I have in the past, and I would like to again in the future, right? I'm making up I'm coming up with a lot of excuses as to why I can't, right? I think that's like God checking in, because that's what he be doing, right? Listen, it's so funny, right? I'm gonna show you some. Well, y'all can't see this, but my pastor literally just texted me what does it say? Pastor Ray at 8:08, right? So right when you asked that, my pastor literally just texted me, right? So, oh man, that was crazy. But yeah. No, to answer your question.
Gordon said, that's exactly what I did, James. One debt at a time. I'm glad you come through your debt, stay debt free.
Yeah, man.
We're trying to stay debt free.
We're trying.
Trying is the key word. There's a ton of seek freedom, find your change, seek discipline, find your freedom. Absolutely.
Correct.
So, okay, guys, I'm going to add, so the ticker on the screen is the StreamYard link. I'm also going to link it here. We have CP, the artist.
CP.
In the back room. I'm going to bring them up. But if you guys want to join the conversation, please feel free to.
Or if there's any other questions you have.
And if you have any questions, I'm monitoring the chat clearly. All right, I'm going to bring CP in.
Salute.
Yo.
Good evening, Miss Barrett. Good evening, Mr. Barrett. It's a pleasure to have me here again.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, look, I said in the chat, I hate this high value man talk, and here's why. All right, James, listen. You know the Mona Lisa, right?
Of course.
It's a priceless work of art.
Correct.
You know, the value that they put on that priceless work of art is just based off of what people perceptually put on it.
Correct.
That painting, maybe in another 100 years, if they don't try to preserve it, will be gone. Okay? Because it's just linen on a canvas and paint that's going to wilt away. Okay? Value is subjective. Diamond rings are just coals that's been heated over, 1,000 degrees or whatever, and then chipped away into what we got. It's a meaningless purchase. When I tell you that when all men, right, and women, because the Lord died for our sins, we are all valuable. And the reason why I hate this high value concept is because everybody cannot be quote unquote high value by that definition.
Correct.
But we are valuable to someone. So those guys who are making $1 million, whatever, when people go to their funeral, 9 times out of 10, there's hardly anybody crying because he or she was always at work. He wasn't a good father. He had a trophy wife, whatever, and everybody's trying to divide his assets.
Correct.
Okay. But James, what I'm saying to you is, when your daughter is born, she's going to look up at you, and she's going to see the most valuable thing in the world. And that's your wife, and that is you. So, as a man who has dealt with,
I'm gonna cry. Sorry. I'm like crying over here, CP.
Okay, let me keep on going then. And the thing is this: like, we have to keep that concept in our brains. You know what I'm saying? Because the world, what we see on the internet, and these labels that are unattainable, whatever, we can forget what's most important, and that's us. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree 100% actually. And I spoke about that on the first live stream we did, right? I said, if I'm or if I'm back to back with Elon Musk, right? And you ask my wife, who's of more value to you? She's going to pick me 10 out of 10, right? I add more value to her life than Elon Musk ever will, right? And it's because only we can determine what's valuable to us.
Correct.
You understand?
Absolutely.
So I get it, and I agree, right? And I think that's just another one of those things where it's like, it's programming people to feel less than, or it's chasing the carrot, right? We're chasing this imaginary thing that is, I agree, CP.
And I will also add to there too, this year, I've talked about it on my channel so many times, but this year I lost my dad, and it was the same thing, CP, like, no one's showing up to the funeral to say, oh, look at all the accolades he has, and look at all the trophies he has, and look at all the cars and planes and whatever he had, right? Everyone was like, this is his character. We were speaking about who he was, you know, and how he changed our lives. Like that's what we care about. That's what you talk about at these, you know, at these funerals. And so it was such a moment for me too, because I was, you know, I've never experienced loss like that, someone so close to me. And it was just like, wow, you really just leave everything behind. and you really have to, you just cherish the moments that you had together, right? You wish you could relive those moments and have those moments back, not the fancy cars, not the, you know, jet planes, not the helicopters. None of that matters at the end. And so I definitely agree.
Yeah, and what's that saying? We remember people by how they made us feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is, you know, that's a testament of memories and things like that. And I did a video on my channel about this whole concept, and it was during the time where Jeff Bezos nearly lost his girl to Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying? Right in front of him.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, and this is the second, you know, richest man in the world to, you know, an actor, you know, and she was just like all on him. And it reminded me of my times here in Atlanta, right? I'm a starving artist. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because I don't even want to put that on me or whatever.
You're not starving.
Nah, you're super talented, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I remember going to auctions, right? Art auctions where you have like these millionaires trying to get a tax write-off, whatever, and they have like these trophy wives. You know, not wives, but girlfriends, whatever. And they're drunk out of their mind. They're old men, whatever. And you have these young women. When I come in the room, they're like, "Okay, who is this guy?"
Right.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm not the millionaire. The other guy that you're with is the millionaire. I'm just an artist." So it goes to show, right? How much like this whole value proposition. And I believe I agree with certain things that Kevin says, but on that I don't agree with it because I live in Atlanta. He lives in Atlanta. If we both go to the bar, I think I'm going to pull more numbers than he.
Ooh, snap.
Period.
Get it, CP. That's awesome.
It's not what you know, is who you are. You know.
Nah, yo, I say that all the time. Listen, I bagged my wife, and I was living in a shelter, man. It don't matter how much, right?
Exactly.
Let me tell you.
And I was.
Yo, man, thanks for calling, man.
Wait, I want to say too, CP, since you're a mod, add your channel in the comments in the live chat. He has an awesome channel. Go check him out. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wait a minute, in the background chat thing or the
live chat, and then I'll add your channel in the description.
All right, I'm new to this. I never had this much responsibility.
Don't worry, you're good.
All right, man. I love you guys, and
I love you too, brother. Peace.
All right, man.
Bye.
Peace.
All right, Jay. I'm gonna add you in here. What up, Jay?
How you both doing?
Blessed, man. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I just got off work. So I've been a huge supporter of Rebecca for a long while. I've been following her journey, and she's talked about how she reformed her life from what she was formerly to what she is now. And all I can say is, you should be proud of your wife. That's probably one of the biggest things I've ever heard somebody say in a relationship, that she actually fought for her marriage. You know, and you said in your previous videos that some women are willing to fight for the marriage. You actually fought it all the way. And sir, you actually did work on yourself, to improve your situation to be better than what you are. I admire the both of you for both of your hard work. That means a lot. That means a lot
We
coming from the both
appreciate
of you.
that, man. For real.
Seriously,
Um,
that means a lot.
yeah, because I think people don't need to know that marriages work, and my grandparents and my parents are the prime example of it. There's there's nothing that's to be said about just giving. You have to put in work, time, effort, and sweat and tears. The both of you, not just one.
Right.
That the idea that man does everything is kind of nonsense, but he has to be able to, circulate what he has to circulate his needs, his wants, into putting it to his family, which is what I'm kind of seriously all about. And I tell everyone that it's something that you can't take lightly. It's a very serious matter. Once a
Mm-hmm.
life comes from the woman, from the woman that I choose to settle down with, the one I care about a lot, but that child will be my world. Besides, the both of them are my world, but that's gonna be the first thing that I see. And what I do want to see, her talking about her daddy and her mom being together. That's one of the things I want to hear either my son or my daughter say, because that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
most important things. How do your children look at you? How do they perceive you? When you two are interacting with each other, and they're not just seeing you argue or not. Because honestly, I wouldn't place arguing in front of my children when I think about that. And congratulations, Rebecca, too, on the both of you
Thank
Thank
for
you.
you,
your
man.
on your newborn. That's a beautiful
Well,
thing.
coming soon.
Coming
Coming
soon.
soon.
Yeah.
Still
Listen,
cooking
if
in
it
the
makes you feel any
oven.
better, my brother had a niece just last month. Yeah. So yeah, I got a new addition to our family. So
Yeah.
please believe,
Where
like
you
I said,
calling from?
I'm calling from South Carolina, sir.
Oh, South Carolina. You right up,
Mhm.
not too far.
Columbia. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm in that
Nice.
area. And I would say this, sir. Just for a question specifically for you, because I know this is because you're sharing your story. What was one of the, if you had to place it, what was one of the most bone breaking things you had to do in order to overcome, you know, what was alleviating you, that was a hindrance to you?
Repeat the question one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, what would be one of the things that was a hindrance to you that you had to overcome in order to get where you're at now?
I think right. The easy answer would be drugs, right?
Yeah.
But so like you got this piece of paper, right?
Okay.
Drugs was this much of the problem, right?
Wow.
And what happens is that I had to I suffer with a lot of emotional. I wouldn't even say like there was some emotion, there was some feelings that I had to let go of, right? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we say that like I played the victim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I
Hmm.
became very bitter, right? So like when I said that when my father never came to pick me up, right? When my father never came to pick me up, like that hurt me, right? I was acting out against my mom for years for something that my dad did,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think one of the biggest things was forgiving him because I didn't even realize that I had all this anger and all this resentment and all this fury for
Mm-hmm.
him. And it like engulfed other areas of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think that was the biggest thing, right? I had a friend I met in California. He was locked up in San Quentin prison, right? He was actually a skinhead in prison, right? We met at a Narcotics
Hmm.
Anonymous meeting, right? Two guys that shouldn't be hanging out. But his job in prison was to find out who people were. And I told him about my dad. I told him that I was looking about my dad. He found me his address, his phone number, right? So I actually I sent my dad a text message. I was too scared to call him, but I sent him a long text message, basically letting him know that I forgive him. Right? I said, "Yo, I forgive you." Right? And that was one of like that lifted so much weight, and I think that was one of the biggest things that I had to do was just forgive my father because he had his own issues. Right? He had
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
issues that he didn't know how to deal with, and I had to let him I had to, I had to forgive him, man. So that was the biggest thing. It took like 28 years for that to happen, but it happened. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say.
I mean, yeah. Realistically, I mean, for me, I have a very similar situation with my biological dad, and it's just like there are some things at one point I'm gonna have to, at least before I go and venture out of America, there's something unresolved stuff that I have to take care of because I don't want that to linger into my brain and have regret later on. Even though he is not to talk, well, not the best person, but
Right.
I know what to do and what not to do because of that experience. But I don't badmouth him
Right.
because that's the one
Exactly.
thing I won't do that. I won't do that.
That's
There,
good, man.
because his ex-wife is already like that, but I see her as family too. So I have to, there's a lot of unresolved things that I have to take care of, but I'm willing to take care of them and so I can move on and actually just have closure for it. But not
Right.
just between me and him, but also just for the sake I need to do that.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely get where you're coming from on that, James. That
Yeah.
means that's very similar to my situation.
Nah, yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to be bitter. I just
No,
don't
no,
want to be bitter
you
of the
don't want to
biology.
be bitter, right? We always want to be better. And I think it's like those memes where the guy's carrying around a boulder, right? And it's like dragging
Yeah.
him down. And it's like, yo, all you gotta do is let go. Right? That's
Mm-hmm.
all you gotta do is let go, son. Your life will be a whole lot lighter. Just let go, right? But we want to hold on to it because it's like, nah,
it's my boulder.
It's my boulder to hold on to. And it's like, just let go. Right. And I wish you well with that situation. And I pray for you, Jay, that that God gives you the wisdom and the discernment to deal with that.
Yeah. I had like a long conversation with my actual parents about it. I told them, yeah, at one point I'm gonna have to do that, even though I know my mother is because mothers are very protective of their sons and daughters, but it's just like pertaining me because
Right.
I got such a good head on my shoulders. I told her I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna let her know because
Yeah.
I have to. It's some unresolved stuff that has to be resolved, and I just don't want it. Like I said, I don't want it to linger
And
if
then
I'm gonna like progress in life.
one thing you also have to keep in mind, and I'll end it with this. One thing you have to keep in mind though is you may not get the desired response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? There may be a response, because I never got a response. I know he said it because I saw the red in the chat, right? But that was it. Again, he left me on red, right? And I could have easily gotten resentful again, but I'm like, well, that would have just defeated the whole purpose of this letter, right? So just keep in mind that you may not get the desired response, because that can be hurtful as well. So
Yes, sir. I appreciate both your guys' time. I really, like I said, I appreciate both your advice. That means a lot, and I'm gonna take it to heart and actually start processing that.
yeah,
Thanks.
man.
I wish
Take
that.
care, man. God bless, brother.
Bye, Jay.
All right, you guys take.
Bye.
All right, Mr. Bobby in the chat.
Yo,
Yo.
can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, Rebecca?
What up?
What's up, sir?
What's going
The
on,
Barrett.
Bobby?
I guess I just had two questions, one for each of you.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys had talked about this already. I kind of jumped in late, or if you talked about this on a different video. But what was the main thing, Rebecca, that I guess got you to choose to not be a feminist or to kind of break that whole mindset?
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing question. The main thing is that when James and I were in premarital counseling, so before that, I had already started doing the work, right? I realized that I wasn't a victim anymore, that these were my decisions. And I started seeing the ideology fall apart just in front of my eyes. And the more I started to put the pieces together, I was like, this doesn't this doesn't work out, like this doesn't add up. And then when we met and we started going through the premarital phase, and premarital counseling, that's when the nail hit the coffin. And my counselor, our counselor, Pastor PG, we talked about him often here. He was like, do you even know what it is to be a wife? Like, do you know what that role is? And so I was already working on myself to kind of get rid of this feminist mindset, but it was really through counseling. It was really through a lot of self work and self reflection that I said, okay, well, I've been going down this path for such a long time and it never resulted in the outcomes that I wanted. And now I have a man that I want to marry. I'm not going to lose him because of my stupid ideology, So that was one of the bigger things. But it happened over time is the true answer, right? It happened in little phases. And even in the beginning of our dating relationship, I would still say some wild stuff to you about not needing this and blah, blah, blah. So the fact that James stuck around too was, quite frankly, amazing. Right?
No, yeah, but I mean, I didn't know she was a feminist. I wasn't even thinking about
Not the blue hair.
Nah, I was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like in my mind,
I had blue hair.
no, like in my mind,
Had
like
the cotton candy hair.
here's the thing, right? So like one thing about me is that I've always demanded respect.
Yes.
Right? I've always demanded respect. Like if you're gonna talk to me, you're gonna talk to me. Like you can disagree with me respectfully, right? You can be
Right,
upset.
right.
You could be upset with me respectfully. So whenever she would start, getting in her little, turn into a little blue haired demon, right? I had to check her real quick.
Yes, he checked me all the
right. I was like, yo, you're
time.
not gonna talk to me like that, right? I might live in a shelter, but you're not gonna talk to me like this.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you talk to me, you're gonna talk to me with respect. Right. And I had to be stern in that. And she would try. She would,
instigate.
She would try to instigate with me, or like she would curse when she talked to me. And I was like, yo, have I ever cursed when I'm speaking to you? Have I ever cursed at you? Have I ever called you out of your name? Until I do that to you, you're never gonna do that to me.
Yeah. And
right. And she would, I nipped that in the butt quick. Right. Because the thing was, like, I liked her, and I knew I knew that I was investing in a future with her, but I couldn't, like, I've seen men in relationships where the wife is the husband. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's not going to be my experience, or this is never.
See that at Walmart all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it happens over time. But it really is that inconsistency that I saw. And that's what I speak to now, the fact that they, feminists say a bunch of things that don't make sense. And I'm like, this is working for us, me being in this role as a wife is working for me, and I love it. So, it's clearly something's working, and so that's why I want to share.
And then here, I know I'm about to say something that's like
wild,
super controversial, right? But I'm gonna say it. There are feminists, right, who believe in the ideologies that were originally intended for, right?
Yeah, like
rights and equality for women, right? My problem is not with them, right? I feel that women should have opportunities as men, right? I feel that women are entitled to, things that men are entitled to. I don't agree that they should have the same outcome, right?
Exactly.
I don't think, like, I don't want to get political, but like there's some, like, so those women I don't have a problem with. It's the women that are like, yo, screw men, I don't need a man, right? Like, I could be somebody got mad the other day at work because I was like, yo, all men, all people were born from their mother.
Yeah.
Right? So
We're getting political now.
right? I was like, yo, all people were born from their mother. And somebody thought that that was a controversial statement, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get into it with them, but I'm like,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
so those people, I'm like, nah, you know, you gotta, you know, there might be some
You need
mental
to sit
illness
down.
there. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
there's
to.
an extremist.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
the extremists in almost any group kind of mess it up.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
So what's your I hope that answers the first question.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are good. It sounds mainly like you started to realize that you disagree with maybe kind of like what James was saying with the extremists, and that
Yeah.
kind of maybe started to wake you up. That's kind of what it mainly sounded like. And then
Yeah.
something James said that I sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Something James said that I think is very important. I agree with a lot is nipping things in the bud, as you said. In the beginning, I think a lot of guys mess up there where they try to, be the nice guy and try to just go with the flow and oh well, I don't want to start nothing, so I'm just happy she's here, so I'm not gonna say nothing until it finally hits that point where you're like enough is enough, and then you want to establish boundaries and all this stuff. But by then,
it's too late.
because you've unintentionally trained her, so to speak, that she can just act any kind of way, talk to you any kind of way, present herself any kind of way until you finally say, hey, no, I don't like this. You need to be like this. It might be too late because she's gonna look at you like it's been a year, it's been whatever how long. Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Like, what you gonna do? Like, it turns into that. You gotta let her know in the beginning. Like, basically, you're letting the woman know, hey, look, I'm willing to lose you if it means keeping my respect and my dignity and my morals for myself. Women respect that. And I think men really need to hear that and see that from a man who's married.
Right.
And I will double down on that as well. Everyone talks about the frame, like masculine frame. James has never lost it. He's never lost his frame with me.
Yeah, I think I may have raised my voice
one time that I can remember.
And you was wilding.
I was wilding. So but that's the thing, I see a lot of times men will just get out of frame. And that's the one thing I love about him is he's so consistent with that, right? He says, no, you're bugging out. You need to go take a time, like you need to go take a shower or something.
Yo, my mom said something to me very young, right? She said, I'm going to say it in a nice way. She said, only homosexual men argue with women. Right? She said, real men don't argue with women.
Don't say it like that.
All right. That's what my mother said. I'm not saying that that's what I believe.
I mean, I get the point.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
that's gonna get clipped.
Whatever. Let me rephrase. Only feminine men argue with women. Right? If you want to go tit for tat and have a yelling match, like there's nothing manly about that. Right? So I've never, I think it's very rare. Like I said, me and my wife been together for, over 3 years. I've raised my voice one time, and it was because I was, I was fed up. Right? So, and that took a lot. So
do you have any other questions, Mr. Bob?
To James. Okay. So what was one of the main things that you first noticed that let you know that this was a woman that you wanted to marry?
So I don't know. It was a feeling that I got. Yo, as soon as I saw her, I saw her, it was almost like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just different. So it was like somebody like tapped me on the like it was like out of body experience. I don't know how it's like I'm getting crazy with it now. No. But it was almost like somebody whispered in my ear, yo, that's your wife right there. Right? Like somebody was guiding me or something was guiding me, because as soon as I saw her, it was just a instant feeling that I got. I don't know how to explain it. And I literally tapped my man on the shoulder. And the same thing that I heard in my head, I said to my mans, I said, yo, that's going to be my wife. And that was it. I don't have any other explanation. I don't know how I knew. If I said anything else, I'd be lying.
Well, hey, sounds like he was right though. So whatever it was, worked.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So
But
All
yeah,
right.
that's all I have for my questions. I definitely appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
Thank
calling,
you,
Bobby.
Bobby. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right.
Adam, I'm gonna get to you in just a second. We had a super chat come in, and I want to acknowledge. So Melvin said, "How should a man deal with stress when he still has to deal with his wife that's being held up with the past?" I really enjoy your channel and your info.
I don't have any experience with that, man. Like if I were, you know, because I'm no guru, right? And like I gotta know where to join, I gotta know where to draw limits, right? Because I don't want to misguide people either in something that I don't know anything about, right? What I will say though is that that's why, again, for anybody else who's considering marriage or currently engaged, that you get all that stuff out in the beginning, right? So that way, when you are married, you're not dealing with past stuff, right? So,
and also too, I think there needs to be context. Did this happen in the marriage, or this happened before the marriage? You know what I mean? Because he says that
how should a man deal with the stress when he still has to deal with a wife that's being held up with the past? The only thing that I could say is that you encourage her to go to therapy, or maybe y'all go to therapy together to address the issue that's causing hurdles in your relationship, right? I don't really know, you know, I don't want to say something. I feel like that's a, you know, that's a sensitive thing, and I don't want to just say something just to say it, right? But again, maybe y'all could do some therapy together. Maybe she can go to therapy individually. Maybe, you know.
And also be encouraging in that sense too. It's not saying, oh, you need to go to therapy right now. You can do it in an encouraging way. Be like, hey, I've noticed that this has, become a thing. I think we should go to therapy together. What do you think? So just presenting it like that. Also, I will say, women, James says this all the time. He goes, oh, you pulled out the filing cabinet, right? You pulled out the filing cabinet.
I got that from my man Raymond Rivera. That's in the chat, son. My man. One day, my wife went into the filing cabinet and she was pulled out some from freaking 17 months ago. That's where we got that from. We got that from Grateful. So
yeah. So sometimes as women we pull things out of the filing cabinet and we sort it out and we pull it up, and that's our way of I would say that's our way of establishing some level of control. So I would get down to the root of that as well. Like, not necessarily just you, but going through counseling will really help, especially if it's a specific thing that gets brought up every single time. Because how I look at these little jabs, right? These little jabs that get brought up over and over and over, and those little jabs can lead to a bigger bruise, and it just is not good. So therapy in that would really help, and addressing the root cause of where it is. And like James said, like, what did you say about the scab? You gotta
so
disinfect
like, whenever there's some trauma, things like that, right? They're like scabs on the skin, right? That are infected, right? And whenever you want to clean a scab, you have to open the scab back up, right? You got to open it again and get in there. And when you open up a scab to clean it out that's been infected, it hurts, but you know it's going to heal. So
yeah. So I hope that answers your question. And yeah. All right, Adam, adding you to the stream. What's going on?
I hope y'all can hear me. I'm a big fan. You know what I mean? First of all, I love both of you guys. I love the matching chains too.
oh, I didn't even peep.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep it quick. I know y'all trying to get to eating and stuff. My question for Mr. Barrett is like, See, I'm from the Muslim community, so we don't have sex till marriage. I saw your guys' video on saving sex for marriage and stuff like that. Did you, as a black man, did you get a lot of ridicule from a lot of your peers? Because I do. Because if you're not a black man, a part of our image is knocking down a bunch of women. I just never done that.
Right.
Is that crazy?
So, yes, to answer your question, yes, right? And a lot of my friends thought that I was full of crap too, right? Because like now I'm, and I respect that you're Muslim, but like now I had devoted my life to Christ. I'm trying to live more righteously, right? So like I'm trying to disciple my friends, right? I got, I've been in the church 3 months and now I'm trying to disciple dudes, right? And I'm like, I'm holy and I'm saved now. And I'm like, yo, y'all gotta stop having sex. And they like, whoa, the hell you talking about? You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, I'm not having sex no more, man. I'm not watching porn no more, man. And like, it was like people looked at me like I was crazy, right? First they thought I was a liar. Then I'm soft, right? Now I'm a punk. Now I'm all these names, right? And it was good for me because it was like, yo, God is showing me who I don't need in my life anymore.
Yeah. And
right?
That was the hardest thing.
Right? Because now I know, you know what? These are not the type of men that I need to be around. I need people that's going to encourage me in my journey, right? Like, for example, like you, I'm sure when you go to the mosque, right? Like, I don't know if you have brothers in the mosque that you can chop it up with, like, yo, I'm struggling in this area, I'm struggling in that area. And they could be like, yo, me too. You know what I mean? And this is how I get through that. And that's why community, right? And having fellowship is so important, because when you're struggling in areas, you have brothers that can lift you up and be like, no, it's all right, man. You're doing a good job, right? I'm proud of you, right? Because that's what we want to hear from time to time. But to answer your question, yeah, I got made fun of. People thought I was lying, all the above, right? And slowly and surely, I started to cut those people out. Now, there are people, like I got gentlemen in my life that I love them regardless of all their flaws, right? Like they could do, in my eyes, they could do no wrong, right? It's just I just dudes I grew up with or whatever the case may be. I just got this like, unconditional love for them, right? Whatever it is, that whatever path they choose, like I spoke about it earlier, like my friend that got murdered, right? I love that brother, right? We went 2 totally separate paths, but my wife will attest to this. He would call me and I would drop whatever I was doing to answer his phone call. You understand? And even though I didn't agree with his way of living, like I would try to talk sense into him from time to time. You know what I mean? I would try to preach to him, right? But he just, he wasn't receptive. But like I got men like that in my life that I love, regardless, so.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that, because this is similar in the Muslim tradition. We got brothers sleeping around. I had to lead those guys. Everything you did, I had to do. So you just confirmed me I'm doing the right thing. I just thought, did you go through the same thing I went through? So yeah.
Nah, you got it, brother.
But I love both y'all. We're gonna get you to 100K, Rebecca. We still working. It's not the end of the year yet. We're gonna get you 100K.
Salam alaikum, brother.
Of course, alaikum salam. Love y'all. All
right, peace. God bless.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
All right. Someone's Darius says, that's right. Cut those men out of your circle. That's right. If you guys want to join the conversation, the link is in the chat and it's also in the little ticker. Oh my gosh, there's some. My girl. Okay, we have Mahmoud. My girl's a feminist. What should I do? I'm trying to show her how damaging the movement was. I showed her the Sue Ellen Browder video and the whole agenda.
That's a question for you.
Yeah. It depends on how indoctrinated she is. How long have you guys been dating, if you don't mind me asking? So if you're still in the chat, let us know. Because this is something that So I was actually talking to Riva and Chantel about this. So if you don't, like, they were on another stream. It was on another stream. But women have to be in a place of coachability, right? We have to be in a place where we want to learn and we want to change and adapt. And I was fortunately in that place when I decided to start stepping away from this movement. Okay, you guys have been dating for a year now. So yeah, that's tough because, you know, there has to be a level of change and coachability. And if she's not receptive to a lot of what do you call, like, what Pastor Gus, like, when you say, like, when you know how you say, like, oh, if she's not taking the suggestions, right? If she's not taking constructive criticism.
I think the first thing is, does she want to change?
Yeah.
Right? If there's no desire,
Sure.
if there's no desire to change,
then I think that's
right,
your answer right there.
You know, you gotta figure that out, right? Like, you can't. She's not gonna. Like, for example, people told me for 10 years that drugs were bad, right? I seen homeless crackheads on the street. I seen people die of drug overdose, right? I seen people lose their families. I've seen people lose their homes, right? I've seen all these different things, and I still decided to keep using drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I made the conscious decision that I'm like, yo, maybe doing drugs isn't such a good idea, right? Maybe I should stop drugs, right? So until I was ready to make that change, right? Until I, so ultimately the person, the individual, your girlfriend, she has to want to change.
Yeah.
If she don't want to change, then you've got your work cut out for you, my brother, right? Because the thing is, like, we spoke about it in the beginning, like, if you don't nip things in the bud right away, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but, like, if you don't nip things in the bud in the beginning, the boundaries are getting pushed and pushed and pushed. It's like a toddler, right? When you see a little kid acting up, throwing fits, doing backflips in Walmart, right? He got away with doing backflips for too long. You understand? So
yeah, I like what Scott says. You don't convince someone your point by beating them over the head. You convince them. You only convince them that you're an asshole. It's true.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, that everything he just said is correct. Everything the people just said in the comments are correct. She has to be in a place where she wants to be coachable. She wants to take suggestions. If she's not willing to do that, that's a hard look that you have to look at your relationship. And also that you have to be willing to tolerate, because it seems that you've put up with this for over a year now. So, these are hard things that you're going to have to look at yourself and say, do I want to deal with this? Because listen, if she's not willing to change and this goes into your marriage, I'm just going to say it's going to be a difficult marriage.
Yeah, it's been too long already. But
yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So I'm going to bring Coach. Kenise?
Yeah, Kenise, you guys said it perfectly. I love the transparency, like when you guys talked about in the beginning how you had to give things up, how Rebecca didn't choose you based on tangible things. It was more so, and I love how on the Lapeef show, Rebecca, you talked about, just a lot of key points. So I'm a new wife as well. I met my husband during the pandemic, got married in literally 8 months.
Congratulations.
So yeah, and I'm doing YouTube just like Rebecca. And I just wanted to ask you, what kind of things do you like that, about Rebecca staying home and kind of being in her purpose while you're on your purpose and still being there to support you? Like, what are the key things just for maybe other women that are listening what are maybe some key things that she does that to support you? Because as new wives, we're always wondering, like, are we doing a good job? You know, it's almost like a job review, right?
Right. No, I think first of all, like my wife, she could do whatever she wants to do. If she wanted to go out and work a job, if she wants to stay home and do YouTube, I support whatever it is that she wants to do. That's one. But I think the thing that I appreciate the most is that there's peace in my house, right? When I come home and there's peace, because some days at work are rough.
Mhm.
Sometimes I go on a couple of days of work that are rough. And I'm dealing with hard times at work. So I don't want to be at work and then come home and have to go back to work.
Mhm.
Right. So I think the biggest thing for me is that my house is peaceful. Right. I appreciate when my wife cooks. Right. I appreciate when laundry and all that stuff is done. That goes without saying. Right. These are not things I spoke about it last week. It's not things that I expect of her. Right. I was like, oh, you didn't do dinner. You didn't do laundry. Why are the pillows not fluffed on the couch? Right. Hint, hint. No, I'm just kidding. But
what's that video that we just saw today? It's like, oh, I get his game ready.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. But but like I appreciate the peacefulness when I come home. Like I know that when I come home that I'm free and clear of everything else. And that's really it. I think any man that's in the chat will attest that it's peace that men want. That's it. They just want peace, man. They don't want cluster. They don't want, like if you're home all day, the crib should not be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you work, for example, there are households where two people work. I don't know what your situation is, but there's situations where the husband works, the wife works, which is cool. And y'all have to establish like whose role is what, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I used to put the clothes in the laundry, but she would fold it, right? So like I didn't mind doing that, right? I'll put the dishes in the dishwasher, she would put them away, right? Like we worked as a team. But I think the main thing is just peace, man. Just peace.
And I will say too, so James works really long hours and he works with people. He's talking to people all day long. He works in sales. And so something that I learned very quickly is that when he comes home, right, when I start yapping, how was your day? Like he calls it like my Tourette's moment, right? And because I've been home all day and I've been, I'm on YouTube and stuff, but I don't interact with a lot of people. Maybe I go to the grocery store or something, but I'm not interacting with people on a daily basis like he is. Like he's talking to his coworkers, he's doing all this stuff. And so sometimes I have to check myself and I said, okay, well, let me give him like the time that he needs to wind down. When he comes through the door, he eats his food, he goes on YouTube, he does what he needs to do. And then when he's ready to initiate, he actually initiates the conversation.
That sounds crazy.
No, but it's not that. No, it's not. It's just.
It's not like, yo, you talk when spoken to.
No. It's not like that.
I get it.
Yeah, that's how I just heard it.
No. It's not like that. It's to the point. It's
talk to me, woman.
No, but it's like I can tell off of his body language that it was a rough day. So I'm like, to me, it's more of an intuition that I have to say, okay, well, it sounds like he had a rough day.
Sometimes it looks like I had a rough day.
Sometimes it looks like he had a rough day. So he's going to sit down, eat his meal, and then when he's ready to talk to me, he'll talk to me. And I don't do what I used to do, which was, hey, what's your day? Like, tell me about your day. Like, let me listen about what I did, And sometimes I do. Sometimes it just comes out. But at the same time, it's like, that's the piece that he needs, And even just this sounds crazy, but even just like time where like he's sitting on the couch
Mm-hmm.
relaxing and I'm in the bedroom or I'm doing something else, and we don't have to be together, like glued together when he's home.
Patrice O'Neal said this one
He
thing.
loves
I
Patrice.
love Patrice.
I
O'Neal.
know what you're gonna say. I know.
I love Patrice O'Neal. I've been watching Patrice O'Neal for a long time, but he said, yo, men like to be left alone, but they don't want to be lonely.
Yeah.
We just want to know you're there sometimes.
And sometimes it's just like, I don't, something that when we were engaged and things like that, I would tell our therapist or counselor, I would be like, he never wants to have these in-depth conversations with me. I'm like, and here I am. I'm like, I want all these conversations. I want to have in-depth conversations with him.
Like
all this
7 in the morning. Like 7 in the morning. I'm like waking up out of my sleep, and she's like, "What's the square root of pi?"
Like, shut up. I used to ask him the most crazy things in the morning. So just, learning to read your man, right? Like read the situation and see how he's feeling, because as women, we're really good at perceiving body language, tone, all that stuff. And also too, I will say, something that I also learned from, being married and all this other stuff is that we can't take things personally. Sometimes it's just like he's having a tough day and it's not you, it's not about you. And, sometimes you just got to let it go. And there's times where I'd be like, oh, he hasn't like talked to me in like 3 days and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, for him, those have been the toughest days, at work. So, just be mindful of that. You have a whole life. You have a whole life to talk to each other.
That's so true. Another thing is, what made Rebecca stand out to you? I mean, I know you told the story of, you've seen her, and obviously physically that's the first thing and anyone looks at, a man or a woman. But like, as you guys were dating, because I'm sure you guys did date someone in the past,
right?
What made, one another stand out? And that's my last question.
Well, I think for me, like the key thing is that she accepted me where I was at the current state of my life when her and I met, right? Because you got to remember, like there were some points where, where I was making a lot of money and I was in relationships that were really superficial, right? Like I've done a couple of things, right? And when I met her, I had nothing, and she was still willing to spend time with me, right? And I was like, we would walk the city for hours. Like we would walk Central Park for hours. We would,
eat dollar ice cream,
eat dollar ice creams and McDonald's, and right. And she was like cool with that, right? And I could tell, like I'm very into, I can tell when somebody's full of crap and when they're not, right? Like I'm from the block. You feel me? Like I know what time it is, right? And I'm like, yo, like this woman is genuine. You know what I mean? Like she sincerely appreciates being around me. So I'm willing to invest in that. And that's really what it was for me. Like I knew that I would eventually have something, right? I knew that I would eventually acquire something, right? I knew that I would eventually,
and he does an amazing job.
I knew that I would eventually meet my potential.
What do you think of the girls who don't even want to go on a coffee date?
It's crap.
Because me and my husband, we went to a diner for our, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to go there, but who cares? And like something big came out of it, like something really big.
Clearly, I think I think that's all this superficial stuff that's happening today. And the problem is that people get caught up in the superficial and they lose sight of what's actually important. Like I was talking to CP, we were talking to CP, and you just like lose sight of what actually is important. Is the Rolls Royce important? Is going out to a steak dinner super important? No. How does this person treat you? The other thing is like when we would walk the streets, because we met each other in New York. When we would walk, he would stand on the outside of the curb, and all of these different things that I wasn't accustomed to. I was like,
So was that something that made you pick him?
Oh
like
my
those
gosh.
Characteristic things?
It was all of these things, like the way he spoke to his mom, the way that he treated his mom, the way he treated other people, the way that he would treat the server, the person, at my job. So I worked at a co-working space. The way that he would treat the lady taking out the trash, he would literally like hold the door open for everyone.
So these are things that women need to be looking at when they're dating.
Exactly. These are so important. And like I said, these are things that are not tangible. Like you can't say, oh, that's going to attribute to a dollar amount, right? That's going to attribute to how the quality of my life is. No, like you could tell by his character that he cared about other people and he was willing to serve. And that's so important. And to the women who say like, I need roses and I need a bag and I need all this other stuff on the first date.
Yo, she'd rather me get her
donuts.
Yeah, chocolate donuts and roses.
I literally say that all the time. Like, just give me donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. Like,
yeah. Well, I love what you're doing, Rebecca, and I'm here for all of your videos. And I also love your cover art too. I don't know if you do that yourself, but it looks amazing.
Oh,
your
thank you.
thumbnails. Yeah. So keep on going.
And to you, if you drop your channel in the chat, and I will link it in the description. Go follow if you have a channel.
Yeah,
go follow your channel.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping up with you guys. I love what you guys are doing. It's so inspiring. I love when you are on, Rebecca, but when your husband comes on, it just like it's a bigger, like the bigger picture. So thank you so much, and I'll drop it in the chat.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Oh, that was so sweet.
It was sweet.
Hold on, we got people in the chat. That's right. Hold on. Sometimes to verbalize. Yeah, her actions speak louder than your words. Got to start from the bottom.
Started from the bottom.
I don't know it yet.
That should be my theme song.
For sure. Like the video, guys, and thank you so much for everyone who's sent super chats. I want to just shout out Curlin because he said, hey guys, wifey's on her show passing through to show love. Gotta catch it on the replay. Salute to y'all. Really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video so far. If you want to, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat.
Any other questions?
Yeah, any other questions that you guys have? I love the donuts. I love donuts. What is Kaylin says? Facts. The flowers always die when I try to take care of them. Get me food instead. I feel that. Yes. Oh, and this is Coach Kenise's channel, and I'll drop her information in the description down below. I gave my wife a choice: flowers all the time or jewelry every so often. She's a wise woman. She chose the rocks. Dang, I might do that too. Just kidding.
Yo, you don't start no stuff, Scott.
Scott, you're giving me ideas. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of flowers, to be completely honest. Do you guys have any questions for us or James while we have him here? Because, we only get him Wednesday nights. And this is the StreamYard. We got, what does it say? Honor to be featured. Going to get you to 100K. Trust.
Let's get to 54K first.
55.
55?
55K.
Let's get to 55K first. One step at a time. Yo, my manager asked me the other day, he said, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
I said that the other day. Caitlin, I elaborate on this question in the chat, but I'll see into your thoughts. Yeah, send us your questions because I keep missing them. Does James use beard oil? Looking magnificent, fam. Yes.
Guess what? My wife actually makes my beard oil, and it's organic. It doesn't have any of that. What is it? That
soybean oil.
Yeah. So my wife actually makes me organic beard oil. I don't have any in, right? I didn't put any in today because I've been home like a bum all day. But yeah.
His beard is looking really good. Okay, so this is Caitlin's question. Here's the question. Do you think it's really wise to teach young women to be wary of young boys, to be careful in dating? Or do you think there's toxic undertones in that mindset? This is a great question because we're going to be raising a daughter.
I think it's important to teach young women to look for certain qualities in men.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think it's important to teach young women to look for certain qualities in people, period.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because there are women that will mislead other women to disaster. Right? Yo, you got a good man. Leave him.
Yeah.
Go with the bozo down the block. He got more money, right? So I think it's very wise to teach young women. I think it's very wise to teach young men to be very observant and watch people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
really learn what some good qualities are, and still good qualities in them, and look for people who possess those same qualities. Because I I don't want my daughter walking around paranoid of people either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he did this one thing, I can't talk to him, right? Because you also got to have grace too. You got to have a level of grace with it as well. Some people have not arrived yet, right? I wasn't always the individual. What did Malcolm X say? Malcolm X say, yo, don't judge someone for what they don't know, because at some point you didn't know what you know now.
Exactly.
Right. So I think that's super important. That's how I would answer that question.
Yeah. And I think too, just with our daughter, teaching her love from a mother and a father, I think is so important, especially fatherly love to a daughter, and to show what love looks like. A lot of the reasons why children grow up the way that they do and, through dysfunction is because parents, and, we're not perfect people.
I'm literally a statistic, right? Because they say, yo, men who grow up without a father in the household are more likely to be criminals and drug addicts and have sorts of problems, right? I'm a testament to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's just important. But, I possess good qualities, because even though my mother, raised me by herself, and I was, I went astray, there were certain things that she instilled in me from a young age. The Bible says, teach a child in the way that they should go. So, but even if they do depart from it, they'll always return.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So those qualities that were instilled in me as a child, even though I, strayed away from that, they were still rooted in me. Right. And when I got clean, I went back to what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which is love and all that good stuff.
That was also my experience. And that's something, that we think about when raising our daughter.
Yeah.
It's going to be a journey.
Truth is though, when we have a daughter, I have all these ideas of things that I want to teach her and how I'm gonna be. Truth is, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do until she gets here.
Yeah, that
Right?
is true.
Keeping it all the way funky.
Funky.
So
Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, let's see. We got another question. Isaac says, does your past hurt linger up in premarital counseling and marriage?
definitely in premarital
Premarital.
counseling.
Mhm.
Not so much in marriage, right? In premarital counseling, we really got to the nitty and gritty of all this stuff. So
And that's why we preach so like hard about premarital counseling, is because of what it did to our relationship, and it's allowed us to build our tool belt of things. So if things happen to pop up in marriage, which they will, right? We can go back.
We're equipped. We're
Yeah.
equipped with tools to help us navigate
Mhm.
those situations, right? And if we can't navigate it individually, we'll bring in
Our counsel.
We'll bring in our counsel. We'll bring in a third party who's non-biased, right, to help us navigate that, right?
And I would say, does your past hurt? I would say, the thing that probably gets brought up the most is insecurities in marriage. So it's more of like things that the daily stresses of life, or for example, like financial issues, and these things are insecurities that people have and will continue to have, especially because life is not linear, right? We go through ups and downs, and we're going to see some tough times. But that's why, like I said, premarital counseling equipped us with the right tools for our tool belt.
Correct.
All right, we got a few more questions. If you guys have any questions or want to join us, please let us know. Okay. We said, any advice on dating as a younger man? I'm 21 and don't know how to go about it. I have 5 sisters and my father isn't in my life, so I'm kind of lost, to be honest.
I'm going to give you some advice that someone gave me. I wish someone gave me at 21, right? And here's the thing, right? Like my wife did a video about is the manosphere and red pill like really entertainment or resources,
Mhm.
right? And I have a lot of respect for the manosphere, right? I think the manosphere is super duper important because so many men like myself don't have an example to follow, right? With that though, you have to take things with like a grain of salt and really, eat the meat, spit out the bones, right? But at 21, my advice would be, focus on yourself, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if like you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, right? But try to get closer to God as you understand him, right? And what's meant for you will come to you, right? You'll know when it's time to right? Like, are you dating to just date, or are you dating because you want a wife,
Mhm.
right? Or you're dating because you want a wife? Are you ready to get married, right? At 21, are you really ready to get married? I don't know, right? So, those are some things, right? So, like for example, like I didn't have manosphere. I didn't have that. I had godly men, right? I had men from my church. I had men from my Narcotics Anonymous meetings, right? I had men that had things that I wanted, and I surrounded myself around those types of men, right? So, what I would say to you is just at 21, bro, focus on yourself, get you together, be the best man that you can be, right? And eventually, try to get as close to God as possible, right? Do all things unto him, and he will bless you, my brother, and he will provide you what's meant for you. That's my advice.
I have nothing to add. That was beautiful. All right. Someone said, I'm curious, who's older?
I'm older by a month and a half.
Yeah,
We're both born in 88.
Yeah, he's November, I'm December.
Her birthday is Christmas Day. I got jerked.
At least you don't have a baby coming on Christmas Day. That would suck too. Okay, so Caitlin, this is your follow-up. That was the thing because it was kind of drilled into me at a young age. Boys only want one thing. Be careful of those boys. So because of that, I waited until later in life, college, to date. I waited later in college to date too. I didn't date in high school. But I don't think that's a bad thing either. Like waiting that long to date people. I also grew up in a very religious household where my mom said the similar things. So
Right.
I was just scared to be around people in general.
And I think it's important to distinguish religious from spirituality, right? Like, I think
like indoctrinated religion.
I'm not religious, right? That's what I say, right? As Pastor Raymond would say, I'm
a relationship.
Yeah, it's about your individual relationship, right? I'm saved, not soft. I'll give you a spiritual beat down real quick.
Hey guys, I'm glad that answered your question. If you guys have any more questions or want to join us in the in the stream, I'm gonna link it here. If not, then I think we're gonna close out. Let's see. I'm way backed up. You guys are having your own conversations in the chat. Okay. So we get this question. We got this question a lot on the stream. When did you guys know each other was the one? Him immediately.
Yeah, I knew right away.
And me within probably the first week of dating.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know I was going to be your husband in the first week of dating.
No, but he said that I was going to be his wife.
Yeah, I said, yo, you're going to be my wife. You don't know it yet, but you're going to be my wife. She was like, this guy's weird.
Say that. When is the baby due? The baby's due February 20th is the expected due date. But she's measuring kind of ahead. So we'll see if she goes early.
It's going to be a Valentine's Day, baby.
I mean, I'm literally hoping for an early birth, to be honest, because I don't really want to go 40 plus weeks. Oh my gosh, just the thought. I'm 30 weeks and 4 days right now. So I'm getting big. James can attest to that.
Yeah. She's pregnant.
I'm pregnant. Jerry says he's a Scorpio too.
Yeah, nice.
Grant says, I wish you a happy, healthy baby. Thank you. Saved, not soft.
Yeah.
Saved. Yeah. Put that on a t-shirt.
It's already a t-shirt, bro. I can't even claim the rights to that, man. It's already a t-shirt.
If you guys have any questions, we'll take questions. If not, or if anyone wants to join us in the conversation and talk to us and ask your questions.
What are some topics, because she was like, yo, what do you want to talk about? What are some topics that you guys would like us to cover as a married couple, right? What are some things as a married couple that you would like to see a married couple talk about that you think isn't addressed or isn't talked about transparently? What's that question say?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Is this a thing with men? My dad had apparently shared with his friends that he knew that my mom was going to be his wife too when they met.
So I'm gonna say this.
Oh yeah, say it.
I'm gonna say this. Most, not all, but most men know between 6 months to a year. Well, most men know between 6 months to a year if they're gonna.
Before.
Yeah, right. They, they know between 6 months to a year. Most men know right away, right? Most men know right away if they're gonna marry a woman. A lot of men know between 6 months to a year if they're gonna marry a woman, right? They're vetting during that time. And I'm not the only one who says this. I've heard people say it. I know people who said it. There are men where that doesn't happen, right? Because I don't want to.
Not all men.
Not all. There are men that wait 7 years, 8 years, 10 years to propose to their girl or whatever, because they got, they're trying to get their life in order or whatever the case may be. But most men know within 6 months to a year if they're going to marry a woman.
That is true. Okay.
And I'm not the only one who said it. So
we got a super chat. There are some children who have fathers, but they're not the best example.
Very true.
That is true.
Very true.
Thank you, KS, for the $5. I think we had a question up here. We do have a name, but we're not sharing.
Yeah, we do have a name. We're not sharing it yet.
Yeah, we're not ready to share. Grant says, "Here's a question: does your friend group change after marriage, or did your friend group change?" I would say it.
Yeah. It definitely did.
What? No, it definitely did. I would say it changed mostly for me. For you? Not really.
For me, not so much, because like I was already at a point in my life where I was hanging out with men who had things that I wanted, and most of them were married, had successful marriages, right? They were succeeding at their career. They don't do drugs. They don't drink, right? So those are like, right? Yo, show me your friends. I'll show you who you are. Mm-hmm. Right. So these are the type of men that I was with. Right. These are the type of men that I was hanging out with. Of course, I got one or two friends that are, playboys, and they doing their thing. Right. But do I hang out with them? Nah. I might call them from time to time, check up on them. Yo, how you doing? Everything good, cool, peace, all that good stuff. But as far as like my immediate friends, people that I hang out with, no. Like even right now, I work so much, right? Mm-hmm. But I have like, I literally got like one friend that I like, grateful, right? Yeah. Like I got like one friend that I, we might go to dinner once a week and talk. We talk, or whatever the case may be. Like I went to play ball with some of my guys last week. They're all married or engaged, right? One of them's engaged, the rest are married or pretending to be married, right? John, but
thank you.
Nah, I love you, John. I'm just messing around.
No, but friends group do change, especially they even change for me personally, they change even with like childbirth and things like that, like just different stages of life. I've talked about this before. I don't share things about our relationship to single friends or actually anyone that's not our accountability partners. Because single people are different than married people, and even moms, like there's a whole group of moms that I started reaching out to because they're in that same phase of life that I am. So it is true that, your friend groups will change, but there are people in my life that are like James said, that are family, basically. Like they will always be there, but it's not necessarily.
You gotta love them where they're at, too, right? Sometimes that's from a distance.
Yeah, sometimes it's from a far away distance.
Yep. Hold on.
What? I already read that one.
Finances, what?
It says finances and how financially disciplined. We can definitely talk about that on another stream.
That's a good one. We're struggling with that right now. I ordered myself a PS5. I'll tell you why I ordered myself a PS5, man.
You calling yourself out on
Nah,
these
man,
streams.
I don't mind calling myself out though. That's the thing. Like, I don't mind calling myself out, right? And I paid resale value for a PS5. Yeah, I did it. Right? I overpaid for a PS5, which is fine. But for me, it wasn't about the PS5, man. Like, it was more of a like a nostalgic thing. Like, the last game system I had was Xbox 360, and then my life went to shambles after Xbox 360, right? So after all that, I finally got to a point in my life where it was like, yo, I could buy myself a PS5 now, right? And for me, it was more significant in the fact that it was like, yo, my stuff is together, right?
Yeah.
It's more about that than it is about the actual game system. I mean, there's other things I could have done, but for me, it was a nostalgic purchase. So.
And he's going to be watching our daughter. He's going to be doing skin to skin while playing Call of Duty or whatever the heck it is.
Madden. Come see me in Madden or NBA.
Full agreement with James. I called my last girl Mrs. My last girl Mrs. before she left me. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Okay, Guru asks, what are you going to teach your kids so they can follow your steps?
That's good. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Well, do you want to? Is that a question for now or later? Because that's a question we're gonna have to think about.
Yeah.
It's weird because I think too, like, we have all these ideas, like we said, of what we want to do and what we want to instill, but as soon as she gets here, it's like,
yeah,
we're figuring it out as well, you know. Great question. Let's see. Dude, took me years to decide to marry my wife.
And that's why I said not all.
Not all,
because there are men like Scott Clark. So I get it, bro.
And it's like, he said, the lady I met at church got engaged with her husband 2 weeks after meeting each other. They've been married for almost 50 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that does happen. We have a bunch of people in our marriage group that was similar. Like, they met, fell in love, got engaged, and then they've been together ever since.
20 plus years, 30 years.
Let's see. I would love to hear the progression early on in your dating season. If that's for a video, we can definitely make a video on that. Let's see. Here's a question. If something happens in your life that pulls your careers apart and one of you has to move, would the other one follow suit, or would you try to make it long distance work? I mean, in marriage, that's not a question. Like, that's not even up for debate.
We're married, and my wife.
Unless
my wife. What would they? I don't even.
No.
Nah.
We moved to where we are. We moved to Orlando because we decided James thought James had a job opportunity here, and we decided we're going.
Yeah.
And we here. So
yeah, we here now.
But I wouldn't do long distance, especially married. That's not good.
They better open up a remote department.
Okay. Aaron says, as you mentioned, people have financial insecurities. So as a married couple, have are there any, I suppose, dreams that you're concerned about not achieving? That was so hard for me to read.
No, I understood what he was saying. I try not to think about what I can achieve. Right? Like, I thought that I would never get clean. Right? My only life, at one point, my life aspiration was to have an unlimited amount of crack. Right? That was my life goal. Right? So the fact that I'm here, right? Doing what I want, sky's the limit. I've done all this in a matter of 3.5 years, right? So I try not to think about what I can achieve, right? It's a matter of when will I achieve it, whether it's in next year, 5 years, 15 years from now. So
yeah, and for me, I don't think about that either. I think together, so we have a purpose in marriage together, right? And so working towards our greater purpose is what I strive for all the time. And for me, it's raising good children. It's making sure that my family is, taken care of in the house and however it may be. And with specifically with YouTube, I think that first of all, I never thought I would get to this point where I had this many subscribers. So the fact that I already achieved this much, like my goal this year was to have 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Remember when I wrote that down? And it's just been crazy how God has just worked in our lives. And even the things that we think about are unachievable and we achieve them.
No, yeah, it's a super dope feeling.
It's so weird. It's so cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Someone talked about FOMO. Here. Aaron says, I suppose, what does FOMO look like as a married couple? I don't really get FOMO. Going out, we're not that type.
Yeah, I mean, you don't there's nothing that we're fearful of missing out on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything that we want to do, we're capable of doing it for the most part.
Yeah.
We could travel if we want to travel. We don't go out. We don't I don't drink. My wife don't drink. We don't club. I don't smoke bud, right? I'm not fearful of missing out on the newest variant of weed. You know what I'm saying? You got this Gorilla Glue, pine salt, whatever y'all be smoking on. I have no fear of missing that at all. You know what I mean? But we do what we want. We just travel. Today I took my wife on a breakfast date. I'm like, yo, you trying to go get breakfast, right? So we do what we want.
Yeah, life's pretty good. I can't complain.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to punch in the face.
Oh my gosh, you've said that so many times on the stream. They're gonna think.
Because I want people to know that sometimes it's a real thing, man. You just don't do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Kids learn let's see, Madden Wars. I don't even know what this person's talking about. All right. If you guys don't have any more questions or anything like that, then we'll close up the stream. We are going to take some of the suggestions of topics to bring up on the next stream. We really want to make this an open discussion, an open forum for you guys as well, to interact with us, ask questions and things like that. So we're trying to have it more of a relaxed thing. We are thinking about having a theme for each video, but
yeah, me, I'm not.
He's a very low key.
I'm not good with all this stuff. My wife was all panicky today. She's like, "What are we gonna talk about?" I was like, "Yo, chill out, man. We'll talk about whatever we want. It's your channel, whatever we want to talk about, right?" But that's I do understand that people want to hear about certain topics, right? So if there's topics that you want to hear us talk about, if we have any experience in that, right, we'll talk about it, right? Because again, and this is I got to make this very clear,
we're not gurus.
We don't proclaim to be any type. Well, I'm actually a certified life coach on the low. Just don't tell nobody. I really am a certified life coach, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what I do, right? I can help you with life coach stuff, but you know, we don't claim to be gurus. We don't claim to be any of that stuff, you know. So we're really just sharing our, like, we're hoping that other people can learn from our experience, right? Our experience, strength, and hope, right? We hope that we can share vulnerably with you and hope that it helps you in an area of your life that you may be struggling with. And that's really what it's about. And as you see, like, if I don't have an answer for something, I'm not going to just come up with an answer just to come up with an answer. You know what I mean? So,
all right, this question came up for you. What's your favorite NFL?
The Giants. Come on,
from
man.
New York.
The Giants all day, win or lose. I'm not a bandwagon fan, right? I don't love the winning team, right? Everyone,
I don't
all
watch
of a sudden, everybody's a Buccaneers fan. All these new Buccaneer fans. So I don't know where that came from. Giants, Isaac.
Grant says this is a topic for another stream. How to go about purposely changing your friend group to match the life that you want. That's a good topic for another stream. That's what he's saying. That's a really good topic. We want to talk about that for sure.
Okay.
All right. Oh, James reminds me of a fusion of some of my favorite rappers. Can't think of who though. Everyone thinks that he looks like Drake.
No, probably like Common or somebody like that. Cause I've heard that before. Like I also do spoken word poetry.
Yeah.
I used to perform at, you know, poetry lounges and stuff like that. And I've heard that before, that I remind people of Common. I'm not doing no spoken word poetry. Not today.
He's tired. I can tell he's tired.
I'll do it another day for you guys, but not today.
We appreciate you guys joining today. Thank you so much. If you haven't given the video a big thumbs up, please. It will help our channel, my channel,
her channel,
our stream. Thank you so much to everyone who sent super chats. We really appreciate it. And the topics down below, we're going to take notes of them. And everyone who joined us today in a conversation, we really appreciate you guys. And we will see you in
and and don't be afraid to call in.
Yeah, we're not
right. Like we're you know, we're not you know, we're not you know, we're regular people just like y'all, man. And this is how it starts, man. Like for any of those guys that are uncomfortable with dating, right? Hopping on a call with us, that's the first step into getting out of your comfort zone. Yo, Miss Donna, can I tell y'all a story about Miss Donna? I've told you about Miss Donna, yes. Right? So I'm gonna tell you why I love Miss Donna and why she's so special to me, man. So when I was in one of my periods of drug use, I ended up in rehab in Florida. And I think I was about to get out, and they were like, yo, do you want to go volunteer at this thrift store? And I was like, I'm not going to volunteer in no thrift store. And then they were like, yo, it's a good way to get out. And I was like, I'm definitely about to go volunteer at a thrift store. Right. And I got there, and Miss Donna ran this thrift store in North Palm Beach. She, you know, basically what it was is it was I don't know if it was a thrift store, secondhand, it was a resale store, right? Because it was nice stuff in there. And, you know, all the proceeds went to children who were struggling with cancer. You know, I don't want to put her business out there, but she's got some experience with that firsthand, right? And that was something that meant a lot to her. And, you know, me and Miss Donna got really, really close. And like, I used to call that like my surrogate mom. And I love Miss Donna so much. You know, she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Unfortunately, I didn't get it at that point in my life, but I still love Miss Donna. I love you, Miss Donna. God's always been putting people like that in my life, though. I've been super blessed.
Yeah, and I think she has a YouTube channel.
Miss
too.
Donna, oh yeah, Miss Donna does have a YouTube channel.
We'll link it down.
We'll link it. We'll link it in the description. Go give her a follow. I think she does like online. I don't know. Go check it out because I don't want to. Yeah, go check it out. But she's got some interesting stuff on there.
Aww.
All right.
She sent all the hearts.
All the hearts.
Thank you. Yeah, of course. Link your channel down here, and I'll add it to the description too, so you get that as well. Yes, story time. James should just have a story time channel, I think. I believe so. I'm trying so hard to get him to make his own channel.
This has been enough. At first, I had it for like months. She was like, "Yo, hop on my channel." I was like, no. But it's actually kind of therapeutic for me. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe down below because it really helps out my channel. And I really appreciate, again, all the people who sent super chats, who sent questions and interacted with us today. And we will see you on Wednesday for another live. Are we doing one Wednesday? Another Wednesday before the Christmas? Yeah, we'll do another Wednesday before the holiday.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, we love you.
Yeah, Feliz Navidades.